Scary Mafia. Other side. Ryan was peacefully drinking her coffee when Jungkook said, Jungkook, Ryan, I want to ask something. Ryan, say. And then he stood up, came near to her, and sat on his knees, and while extending the ring towards her, with a smile, he asked, Jungkook, Miss Ryan, would you like to be Mrs. Jeon? And his words made her shocked because she did not accept this question. She did not say anything and stooped up, and while holding his shoulders, she said, Ryan, firstly, stand up. And because of her word, the smile left his face, and he stood up and said, Jungkook, now say, Ryan, firstly, sit at your place, she said, and while sitting, he said, Jungkook, are you rejecting me right now? She sits too and then said, Ryan, no, it's nothing like that. Jungkook, then Ryan, John, it's a huge decision of my life. And that's why, firstly, I want to talk to Taehyung's parents about this. Jungkook, and if they say no, then Ryan, I know they will never say this. I know they will respect my choice. Jungkook, you know what, Ryan? I'm just scared if other guy comes between us. Then what will happen? He said with a concern. Ryan, if it's happened, then I'll kiss him on the forehead and tell him that how lucky he is to have you as his father. She said and smiled. Jungkook, Ryan, you scared me for a second. Ryan, don't worry, Jeon, just give me some time. She said, and suddenly her phone rang. She picked up the call. On call. Taehyung, hey Ryan, where are you? Ryan, I'm outside. Why? Taehyung, at tomorrow morning, we are going to Daego, Taehyung's house. So get ready. Ryan, oh, okay. Call end. Ryan, tomorrow I'm going. Jungkook, where? Ryan, to meet Taehyung's parents. She said with a smile. Other side. Sojun, why are you suddenly going to Daego? Taehyung, firstly, I miss my parents so much. And the second thing is, I want to know who is the person who came to my house, posing as my friend. And I don't know why I got that he was JK's man. Sojun, if you feel like, then go ahead. Next day. Taehyung, Ryan, come quickly. We are getting late. Taehyung said while sitting in the car. Ryan, yeah, coming. And she also sits in the car. As she sits in it, Taehyung noticed a teddy in her hand. Taehyung, will you take this teddy too? He asked, and she just nodded in response. Taehyung, think One more time, you have kept all your essentials. Vayan, don't worry, I have kept everything. Time skip. They reached at Taehyung's parents' home. While hugging his mom and dad, Taehyung said, Taehyung, how are you, mom and dad? I missed you a lot. Mr. Kim, we too, my child, Mr. Kim said, and Mrs. Kim felt her children by touching their faces, and she said, Mrs. Kim, Vayan, I feel like you are too weak. Vayan, no, auntie, it's nothing like that. I'm good, she replied. Mrs. Kim, if you say then, I'll believe in it, she said. Mr. Kim, now you both go and take some rest, Mr. Kim said. Then they both nodded and went to their respective rooms. Time skip. Taehyung was asking the watchman at his house about the boy who came to his house posing as his friend. And the watchman told him that no, on that day he was not here when that person came. Taehyung, okay then show me the footage of that day, Taehyung said. And he saw that it was not his friend. He sent that footage to Sojun and called him on call. Taehyung, did you see the footage? Sojun, Taehyung, I want everything single information about that person. Sojun, don't worry, I will find it soon. Taehyung, okay. Call end. Time skip. Everyone was having dinner when Mrs. Kim said, Mrs. Kim, Vayan, Taehyung, you both are getting elder, so it's good to get married now. Vayan, yeah, auntie, maybe you are right. Mr. Kim, then it's done. We will organize the engagement of both of you in a few days. After hearing his words, Taehyung had a smile on his face, but Vayan gets shocked, and while standing up, she asked, Our? Mr. Kim, yes, my dear, you and Taehyung. And without saying a word, she left from there. Taehyung, let me talk to her. Taehyung sat in while following her. He went to the garden and he asked Taehyung, Vayan, what happened? Vayan, Taehyung, you know that we are just good friends. I never think about you like that, she replied. Taehyung, but Vayan, what's the problem with it? We both understand each other and care for each other. And while cutting him in the middle, she shouted, Vayan, but we don't love each other. Taehyung, who say we don't? I love you, Vayan. I loved you for a long, but the thing is that I did not have a guts to say this, he said, and she just looked at him with a blank face and left from there. She went to her room, and while hugging the teddy, she hardly cried because there is no one with whom she can share her feelings. Then someone knocked on the door. She quickly wiped her tears and opened the door. Mr. and Mrs. Kim standing there. Mr. Kim, you go inside and talk to her. I'm waiting outside. Mr. Kim said to Mrs. Kim went in with Ryan. Mrs. Kim, Ryan, now tell me what happened. Are you not happy with this decision? If you don't want to do this marriage, then you can tell me. We will not go against your wish. Mrs. Kim said, and on her words, Ryan thinking, should I tell her about John because I can't live without him? But what if Auntie gets sad on my words? Mrs. Kim, hey, what are you thinking? Tell me, do you want to do this marriage or not? Ryan, I just need some time. Mrs. Kim, okay, my dear, take your time. Ryan, thank you. Mrs. Kim, now get some sleep. I'm going. Mrs. Kim said then Ryan helped her to reach the door and then she left with Mr. Kim. Ryan, I can't understand. What should I do? How much uncle and auntie have helped me without thinking about any of their benefits? And now that they have asked me for just one thing, can't I do this much for them if I don't do this marriage? The uncle, auntie, Taehyung, everyone will be mad at me. But if I did it, then there is only me who gets sad. Ah, why it's so hard to talking herself continuously. And she did not even have any idea that Jungkook was seeing and hearing everything because of Teddy. Jungkook. It has not even been a day since she went there, and they started making her cry. And why is she thinking so much about it? She just has to say no. Let me talk to her. Jungkook said, and he called her, but her phone was switched off. Next evening, everyone was sitting in the living area when Mrs. Kim asked Mrs. Kim, Ryan, have you decided something yet or not? And Ryan hummed in response, Mr. Kim, so what is your decision? Ryan, I am to be continue.